What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, fam? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man Cam up here in the Northwest. As you can see, we're wrapping up one. It's been a really nice summer up here. I must admit, my first summer up here, full summer up in the Northwest in a lot of years. But it's been a really nice summer up here. Kind of muggy today. I think over 82 degrees today, 83 degrees today, about where I'm at. But it's pretty cool, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining me. I want to get the show started just like this. Some of you guys have seen this before. For those of you who haven't, this is a look at some of the things we get down with.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
is
Cam Buford.
Hey, it's Peter Rosenberg. I'm hanging on my man Cameron Buford.
You got some good questions today.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
All we want to see every year are the best two mothers getting in the ring and getting on.
I got some of this for you.
Goodness. For me?
Yeah, just for you.
Think about it like this: the promoter pays the fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works for the promoter.
Okay. So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Can I finish right now? Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me? Which one?
What do you think about this upcoming?
Aaron, like I was saying before.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh
Fans
my goodness!
continues
gracious.
to evolve,
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right?
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
I'm real surprised at that, Cam.
Hey, come here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's the big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sport.
Thank you for making our voice your choice.
If you haven't told your girlfriend about the show, tell her about the show. If you haven't told your boyfriend about the show, tell him about the show. If you haven't told your cousin, your uncle, your grandfather about the show, let everybody know about the Voice of the Fans podcast.
Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do. Yeah.
What's good with y'all? It's September. It's football season. If you guys can't smell the grass in the air, if you guys don't got your jerseys cleaned up, if you guys don't hear the Fox music already blaring in your head, I'm not sure what's wrong with you guys. It's football season, so we got a lot of NFL we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about some college football. We got a huge NBA story that we're going to have to get into. I need you guys' feedback on this. I need you guys to pull me down off the ledge. Some of this stuff I can't really believe, but we're going to have to get into this NBA story. Like, oh my goodness, this is a story unlike which we've heard before. But we got a lot to talk to. I hope all you guys as well out there in the sports world. So we're going to make this. You see I'm on location here. We get the show in. Just get you guys some content, let you know my picks for this season before the weather hits. But I want to thank you guys again for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Go ahead and hit that. Hit me on the chat @_Voice of the Fans if you want to be a part of the show. @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter if you want to be a part of the show, or hit me on the chat. However you're listening to us on H&B Media TV or Voice of the Fans. However you choose to be listening to us. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. And we're gonna get the show started talking some NFL with we're a day away, one night away actually for some NFL action. We get the Green Bay Packers going against not the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow. Speaking of those two teams, obviously, most of you guys, if you know that you're football fans, you know there was a big trade. Micah was traded from the Cowboys, traded to Green Bay. What do you guys think of that trade? Was that you hear Jerry now trying to make sense of the trade? Do you guys think it was a good trade? Because a lot of people say it was a good trade. The detractors or the people, the Dallas fans and Dallas supporters would say it was a good trade because, they got blown out in their last playoff game against those same Packers. Why you trading to somebody you got blown out to is beyond me. But Dallas got blown out by those same Packers, and they couldn't stop the run. The defense couldn't do anything, couldn't stop anybody. So why pay this man close to $50 million per year if the defense is going to be so porous? Which I understand. I get that. I get that concept, and it's one of those things that you have to be in the right place at the right time. That's why winning the championship is so fickle. It's so funny because so many things have to come together. So many personalities. The weather has to come together. The coach has to be in the right mood all year long. So many things have to come together to win the championship. And i.e. contracts have to be, symmetric. Players have to be playing and uniting and coming together. Now, whether Micah was able to unite the players or not, clearly that didn't get done. And I think for Micah, you need to be also in the right spot. Dallas wasn't able to benefit from what Micah was able to bring to the table from a football skills wise. Dallas wasn't able to benefit from that. They weren't a couple years ago when they would put the highest scoring team in the NFC. Then they were able to jump up on opponents and then allow their pass rush to get to the quarterback. But that hasn't been the case. They haven't been able to effectively run the ball or stop the run. And that's what you got to be able to do that in the NFL. Green Bay is in a position where they were good in a lot of places. They couldn't find a pass rush over the last few years. They couldn't find somebody to rush the passer. So I personally think, I had this conversation with her earlier this week. I personally think Micah's best position would be like a middle linebacker position. He's instinctive. He can obviously shed the blocks. He can hit. I think he would be a ferocious linebacker, but clearly the game devalues that linebacker spot. You can find that player almost anywhere is what they think. So the pass rush, him being a pass rusher is much more is the rarer position, the rarer find for an NFL team. Green Bay now is counting on Micah just to rush the passer. That's all you have to do. Rush the passer. You're going to attract some double teams. We're going to let our guy on the other side of the ball get off. Now he should be better because now Micah's attracting double teams. So there you go. Now you're going to have now you're going to have an actual complement of pass rushers on your team, and with the points that they should be putting up, the Green Bay Packers, that is, they should be in that position where they're one of the top 5-6 highest scoring teams in the NFL, meaning they can now rush the passer on defense because they're going to be putting pressure on that offense, on that opposing offense, and then they can stick Micah on that opposing quarterback. He's going to get plenty of opportunity to shine in that situation. So it was a good trade. I think certainly for the Green Bay's perspective. Dallas, Jerry is just full of himself. This one cost Jerry. He was just being too full of himself. And we don't – that's what I say today. In 2005, September 3rd, 2005, we have to look at this in 2028 and actually see kind of what – were they able to flip those draft picks into other players? Did they have to draft the players? How did those players play out? Give them a few years to play out to see if the actual residual of this draft pick. But going into the season, Dallas Cowboys are not better than they were last week. Also, before we get into our pick segment, we had Terry McLaurin. He signed a deal coming off of his hold in, so that's good for the Washington Commanders. They should be back in place, ready to go. That's good for them. And they had Trey Hendrickson signed a 1-year deal. They gave him an extension and gave him bump salary on top. but he will be an unrestricted free agent next season, so he'll be able to go and sign with whoever wants him, considering it has a great season Hendrickson can. So those were some of the big things from the past week signings. I like to ask you guys, fans. I wanted to have my guy on, Tyler from Fox Sports. I'd like to know a couple of things. I got some questions. Why haven't the NFLPA put a halt to the season due to the nefarious actions by the NFL owners? I don't understand why we haven't heard more about that. That was massive implications. It would seem like that gave the players who notoriously have the worst relationships with the owners, the worst pension plan. No, pension plan, not the word I'm looking for. They're getting done the worst collective bargaining agreement. They have the worst one, the NFL players agreement versus the NFL owners. I thought this was the opportunity, understanding how the NFL owners were colluding with the NFLPA to get these contracts to go through, and they're not doing anything about that to limit their contracts. And they knew the owners. It was well known that the owners wanted to put a cap on some salaries. The NFLPA knew this and was okay with it and didn't argue for the players' behalf against this. I don't know. I have no idea why this isn't a bigger case going into the off season. I mean, it's disingenuous by the owners. I mean, they were caught red-handed. I think it was a former employee just kind of snitched and blew the whistle on the whole thing. But that is a monumental case. Now, fans may not care about it, but whenever there's a labor agreement or a labor disagreement, and you hear the players not agreeing, that this is why, because the owners will do some nefarious, some shady stuff. You have your lawyers to find every loophole that you possibly can to do, break the law or not break the law, to pay taxes, to not pay taxes, to save yourself some money, which ends up being hundreds of millions of dollars versus the players. They don't have that, I dare say wherewithal, but they definitely don't have the relationships where they can just call up somebody and get the right answers on tax evasion. That's what I'm saying. The owners can do that. Players can't make that right phone call so readily, oftentimes. So the owners taking advantage of these players through the NFLPA. That the NFL players agreement, who was supposed to be there in position to stand and fight for the players, they were getting kickbacks and using massage by the owners. That I don't get why that's not a bigger case. What do you guys think? Should Tom Brady be allowed to participate in the production meetings as an NFL owner, and especially as the NFL owner that they're preparing for? That's kind of funny. In one word, should he be allowed? Part owner. I don't see the immediate conflicts. But if he's sitting with the quarterback and the coach, asking him, this or that, how do you handle this particular situation? What's your preferred play call in this situation? He's able to relay some of that information to his coach and owner, and now that's going to ultimately give give his team a bump up. What do you guys think about that? Is that cool? Are you guys good with that? Is Tom Brady? Are you? I mean, I once was of the mindset where I didn't mind if I told you my play. In fact, we would do. And there were a couple times that I actually told the play just to show how dominant we were over the team, and we could dominate you regardless if you knew the play or not. So there is that. But would you tell? Do you think that's a good situation for Brady to be in that situation? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I'm asking for my fans on the Voice of the Fans podcast, what do they think about that situation? I'm not sure about that. Somebody in the chat, let me know. Somebody in the chat, let me know. Fans, it's that time. It's that time. It's the season. I'm gonna show my screen. We're back to making our picks. We're back to making our picks. Now, share screen. I am there you go. You can share the screen. Okay, here we go. My picks for week 1. Now, fans, I was 73% last year in my picks. 73%, that is. Okay. So you choose to listen to me or not, but I did go 73%. That's higher than most pundits that you'll know, and I'll be tracking them every week, so you can just follow along, and hopefully before week 7 you decide to go with my picks if you're better at all. The Miami Dolphins versus the Indianapolis Colts. Give me Miami in the 1 point. Daniel Jones, Richardson. I'm not sure. Tua, if you can't go in there and beat the Indianapolis Colts Tua in an air conditioned on turf building, that seat is getting warmer and warmer for McDaniels. And Tua, you might be what did you say? You might be putting in some good film on tape for your next team this season. Because if we don't get off to a hard start, I'm blaming Tua. We got the Cowboys versus the Eagles tomorrow. It's an 8.5 point game. I'm taking the Eagles to win this game. I can see them winning by 10 points. I can see them winning by 3 points. It's a division rival. First game of the year, first game after the banner drops. Teams consistently have issues after that banner drops. Then we have the Chiefs and the Chargers. Whew, that's a good one. So we kick it off with the Cowboys and Eagles Thursday night, the Chiefs versus the Chargers on Friday night, where the Chargers have the talent to beat the Chiefs. They're not ready to beat the Chiefs. They have the talent. You hear what I'm saying? They have the talent to beat the Chiefs. They're not ready to beat the Chiefs, and we'll see that again coming this. We'll see how that transpires this week when the Chiefs beat the Chargers again. We have the Buccaneers and the Falcons. This is quietly a good game. I think the Buccaneers this will be a good game, great game for the first half. The Buccaneers will ultimately pull away, and as they'll do throughout the season. Ultimately, the half will be, or the division will be relatively close early, but then the Buccaneers are going to ultimately pull away and she'll be the class of that division. The Bengals and the Ravens, that's a hot one starting off the game. Oh, excuse me, no. Bengals and the Browns. I thought that the Ravens played the Bills. Bengals and the Browns, that's still a division battle of Ohio. Bengals go to the Browns. The Bengals got to win that game. It's imperative the Bengals win that game. Then we have the Raiders versus the Patriots. Ooh, Raiders going across country. I go with the Patriots in this game. The Saints versus the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I think that's a good job. Where we at now? The Saints and the Cardinals. I got the Cardinals winning that game. The Steelers versus the Jets. I can care less about either one of these. I think the Jets are going to have a problem with the Jets. I think the Jets are going to have a problem with what is it? I think the Jets are going to have a problem with their quarterback play. We got the Giants and the Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to win this game. Panthers and the Jaguars. I'm taking the Jaguars in this game. the Broncos versus the Titans. I'm taking the Broncos in this game. The Seahawks versus the Niners. The Niners are going to win this game. The Seahawks aren't ready for the Niners, I don't believe. Just go back to the Broncos and the Titans. It's going to be interesting to see how Cam Ward plays, but I think Bo Nix is kind of riding the momentum right now. I think he's going to carry. They're going to have a good season. The Denver Broncos were. They're going to be on the bubble this season to get in the playoffs. They're going to be riding the high, though. The Jaguars and the Panthers, where I think the Panthers are going to be ready. I think the Jaguars are. Obviously, it's a new season for each of them. I think the Jaguars are going to be. They have more pressure on them to be better sooner. So I'm going with the Jaguars in this game. That's going to tell you something. And the Commanders over Washington, I got Commanders are a better team. They're a more talented team. I do not expect Jaden Daniels to have a sophomore slump. I think his style of play allows him to be himself. It's a kind of unique style of play where he's just a slitherer. He's kind of like that slasher on the basketball court, that slashing point guard, just a slitherer, get to the hoop. Anthony Hardaway kind of guy. Like, the very few things that's going to enter his game, stop his game. And he shows he got the kind of key for the NFL. So we'll see how that works out. So pick things back up. I don't think the Seahawks are ready for the Niners, so I'm going with the Niners in that game here. The Lions and the Packers. Now, this game takes on a new meaning, obviously, because of the big trade. There's no time to kind of introduce the player into your program. Indoctrinate. They've had a week. I think it's about enough about what these players really need. So we'll see how Micah comes in there and shakes off the history that he's been through the hectic process that he's been through the last few days. But I got the Lions to win that game. They're going to Green Bay. I got the Lions. I think the Lions are going to win that division. I'll let you know my division picks here in a moment. But I think the Lions are going to win that division. But the Packers are going to be right there. I think they're going to meet a few times. They might meet a third time in the playoffs, both of the teams, with the chance to move on to the Super Bowl. Texas, the Texans and the Rams. I got the Rams in this game. The Ravens and the Bills. This is Sunday night. This is going to be a great game. I'm going with the Bills to win this game. Or excuse me, the Bills won the last game. I'm going with the Ravens actually to win this game. And then the Vikings and the Bears on Monday night. This is another good game. Who do I go with? I'm going with Chicago to win this game at home over the rookie quarterback, or last year's rookie quarterback. So I'm interested to see how both of these things, all these things, play out. The best game of the week for me, off the top of my head, the best game of the week is going to be the Chiefs Chargers. That's going to be a damn good football game. I have. Sorry about that. So that's my picks against the spread. I got Miami. I'm taking Miami +1. They're getting one against Indy. I'm taking Jacksonville -3. Jacksonville -3. They're favored over the Panthers. I'll take Jacksonville -3. And the Chicago -1.5. They're Minnesota is favored against the Chicago Bears Monday night. So that's my picks against the spread there. So that's you guys want to. I'm not telling you who to bet on. I'm telling you who I bet on or who I would bet on. Just real quick, I'm not going to run down the schedules of every team, but I'm run down who I have, the 7 teams or the 6 teams I have in the playoffs, and then there's going to be a couple teams on the bubble for each conference. The teams that I have making the playoffs from the NFC West are the 49ers and the Rams. The Seahawks are going to be on the bubble with a 10-7 record, but the 49ers and the Rams are going to make the playoffs. The Packers and the Lions from the NFC North are going to make the playoffs. The Eagles are going to make the playoffs, and the Buccaneers and the Buccaneers are going to make the playoffs. On the bubble, it's going to be the Commanders. I have the Commanders and the Seahawks on the bubble. Now, again, I have the Seahawks at 10-7, having a 10-7 record. I have the Commanders having a 10-7 record. So a game here or there is going to change their fortunes. But I have them being on the bubble, the Hawks and the Commanders. I have the Packers and Eagles playing an NFC championship game. And I'll leave that at that. But I have the Packers and Eagles playing for the NFC championship game in 2026. It will be at that point. Gee whiz, time is flying, fans. Time flying. We're back in football again. For the AFC, I have the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens making the playoffs. I have the Chargers, Chiefs making the playoffs also. So, and the Houston Texans. So I have the Texans, the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens. The Steelers are on the bubble. I think the Ravens will. I think the Bengals defense. Now we've heard all season long how crappy they were, but the Bengals defense is have also heard how everybody talk about them in the offseason. And I'm not saying they're going to be great. I'm not saying they're going to beat 85 Bears. Don't get me wrong. 2014 Seattle Seahawks. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think they'll be better. They're going to play with some pride. They're going to play with some pride. The Bengals are going to upset, not really upset because they're a good team. So I have the Houston Texans, the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals. I have the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs making the playoffs. On the bubble is going to be the Broncos and the Steelers on the bubble. I do not expect the Steelers to have a winning record. I do not expect the Steelers to have a winning record. I do not expect the Steelers. I do not expect the Broncos. I have the Broncos on the bubble. I do not expect the Steelers to have a winning record. I do not expect the Steelers. I have them on the bubble. I don't think they're going to be there. I don't really think they're going to be there. And this is not going to be a good season for Aaron Rodgers. Coming out of AFC, I have Bills and the Ravens coming out of AFC. I have the Bills and the Ravens coming out of AFC. So the NFL Final Four, in my eyes, and this is not to discredit the Patrick Mahomes. This is not to say I don't like what the 49ers and Shanahan and Brock Purdy got going on in San Francisco. I think the Packers and the Eagles are going to fight for the NFC Championship, and I think the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens are going to fight for the AFC Championship. I'll leave that at that there. What do you guys think? Who do you guys? How do you guys see it go? How do you guys see it going? Agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you expect what dark horse team do you guys expect to come out of nowhere? Do you guys have a dark horse team? Talk to me. Hit me up in the chat. Hit me up on Twitter @_ Voice of the Fans on Twitter. Hit me up in the chat. However you're watching the show, at Voice of the Fans on YouTube or HMB Media on YouTube as well. However you're watching the show, hit me up in the chat. Some of the things I'm looking at this season, kind of went over it last week. I'll go over it again for those who didn't hear it. Over and under 12 game for JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. That's what I want to see. I want to look at these running backs, these rookie running backs. Omar Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson in New England. They're going to be interesting. When does Shedeur Sanders actually get his start? Now that he made the team, does he get started by week 6? Does he get started by week 7, week 8? When does Shedeur Sanders actually get his start? How big is Robinson to the 49ers? I mean, is CJ, is that, I know that's a good backup for CJ McCaffrey, but is he going to take some of CJ's minutes? How big is that? What do you guys think about that? It gives the Niners another quality running back, obviously, But is this a game changer? What do you guys think? When does Jackson Dart start for the Giants? Will he be starting by week 7 or week 8? When does Jackson Dart be starting? And or does he sit down all year and just let Russell take the lumps? We'll see. Jerry, man, I think Jerry really blew it. This trade, I think he really blew it. Fans. Whew. This is a mind bender. It's an off season, so I wonder how much this is gonna. It's September. The season doesn't start for another 6 to 8 weeks. But how big is this story with Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard? How big is this? I mean, they got embezzlement. They have him, circumventing the salary cap. Not playing fair with other owners. Clearly, when you're circumventing the salary cap, because you have a salary cap for a reason. And then we had him, doing some fraudulent activities with the LLCs and the money going here, try create the big smoke signal that might be federal criminal action. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the law enforcement, but from the very little I know about any legal ramifications, put it like this. If that happened in the South End and not Bellevue, or we're talking about somebody who lives in the South End of Seattle and not Mercer Island or Bellevue, or has a house in Marina Del Rey and Santa Monica, yeah, they're busting jail. But it's going to be interesting to say how, because you wouldn't think Ballmer, 100 millionaire, would leave some skeletons so visible. Wouldn't even bury them. Just leave them kind of just, get up and walk away from the table and just leave your trash there. Like, it's hard to believe that Ballmer would be that, dare I say, stupid. It's hard to believe that. But there is a paper trail, according to Pablo Troy, and Pablo Troy finds out the information that they shared led a direct line, an easy to see line. Easy to see. Will they suffer a penalty? Will there be a true investigation? I mean, man, this is huge. Is this a common practice that all teams are doing? They just find different ways to circumvent the salary cap. I mean, this feels like when Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, when they went, the NFL was Coke and Jerry Jones went Pepsi. He went and signed his own deal with Pepsi. This kind of feels like. Jerry didn't break no laws, but Jerry kind of broke away from the rest of the owners with and he's arguing, why do I have to pay the they pull all their money. I forget what the term is, but they pull all the owner put in all their money. And now when there's a penalty or something, that money comes out of that pot. But Jerry's like, why do I have to put money into that pot? I can sell my own jerseys. I can sell my own uniform. I can sell my own memorabilia. I can make more money. So Jerry made the deal with Pepsi. Went rogue, made the deal with Pepsi. That's what this. It kind of feels like. But again, Jerry didn't break the. He broke the spirit of the law with the owners. Eventually, the owners made more money when they saw that how he was doing it. So it wasn't. There wasn't a potential for Jerry to go to jail. Is kind of what I'm getting at. There's a potential for Palmer, if they look at it and they do their investigation, there's a possibility for some jail time because he's now messing with the federal government, and the federal government ain't gonna be too kindly to somebody stiffing them from some. Yeah. The federal government is not gonna be so kind to people stiffing them for their tax dollars. So this is interesting. This has a whole lot of tentacles. Interesting story, fans. I encourage you guys to check it out. Pablo Torre finds out. I encourage you guys to check it out because this goes deep. This goes really deep, and it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. But that's it. That's our NBA. I mean, I really don't have no NBA talk, but except now the Clippers got a new persona that is cheaters. Because of the way this is looking, it's looked like that's what they did Kawhi Leonard. I guess the question was asked, why would Kawhi Leonard go to Los Angeles Clippers and not the Lakers? And because he's getting extra $30 million under the table. That's why I'm going to make that move. So we got it's NFL season. We got a few weeks for this thing to shake out. Well, I'll keep you guys posted when I hear something. But what I want to get into now is I want to ask you guys about college football. Well, first, how much WNBA are you watching? Are you guys WNBA season is wrapping up. The playoffs are almost upon us, and they're playing good basketball, especially New York Liberty, obviously. So we're going to get a chance to see them on Tuesday. So make sure you follow me, and you can see my interviews. Hopefully, I get a chance to get Sabrina next year on too. But what do you guys think? Did you guys have your fantasy drafts? Are you happy with your fantasy squads? Now you picked them. You picked them. You got to fake some happiness because I like mine. I'll give you a little rundown of mine real quick, just before we start losing. I'll say, how about that? Before the season starts, and I start racking up some L's. But I was in two of my three. I played in 3 leagues last year. One league I stunk. Latinos beat me up pretty. My league, the Voice of the Fans 4 league, but I was in the championship game, and in my other league, I was in the championship game. So I got an idea about the game. I got an idea about how to play fantasy football. I got an idea about regular football. So you want to chop it up with me? I'm the one to chop it up with Boss in the Field. So I got some fresh ideas for you. My fantasy squad is I got 2 of them this season. My quarterback stinks in this league. I got C.J. Williams, or not C.J. Williams, Kyron Williams from the Rams, Jahmyr Gibbs from the Lions, A.J. Brown from the Eagles, Lab Milwaukee from the Chargers. Is my tight end. Jalen Warren is my flex player, along with Harvey is my RJ Harvey is my other flex player, and I got the Tyler Bass and the Eagles defense. My quarterbacks stink in this league. I got Caleb Williams and I got Trevor Lawrence. I'm waiting for somebody to emerge because there's some decent quarterbacks on the bench, and I'm riding with those two to see what we can do. That's my squad. This is not a PPR league, more of a standard league. So what do you guys think? On my bench in this league, I got the Quinshawn Judkins. I'm waiting for him to take over in Cleveland. I had Emeka Ibuka from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a receiver. I got Tatoria McMillan from Arizona. Christian Olave, who I'll probably trade for a backup tight end. And again, I got Jamison Williams. So I got some playmaking receivers. I got a young project in Judkins at running back. But I think I I gotta get a backup tight end. I got a few weeks to do it, but I gotta get a backup tight end in this league. This league is pretty interesting. What's your best fantasy football squad, or what's your squad out there now? The best squad I think I drafted the team. They kept letting me get Tyreek Hill. The first year nobody knew about him. First year he was a punt returner. Second year, so I was kind of putting a lot of faith in him. But then the second year, they knew who he was, but they're like, oh, he's not going to do that again. And sure enough, he did it again. Third year, he was even better. And I won a championship in those years as well with Tyreek on my squad. So I like the young guys. I like the explosive guys. So that's this team on NFL Network or NFL Network. Here's my team on Yahoo. This is my what do you call it? Points per PPR league. So this is this team. This, sure enough, is my fantasy football league. I got Baker, Puka Nacua, Terry McLaurin, Jamar Gibbs, Trayvon Henderson, Brock Bowers, R.J. Harvey, Keith Fairbairn, and Minnesota's D. That's my starting lineup. I think that's pretty tough right there. Baker Mayfield, Baker plays, right? He's in a good rhythm. Puka, Terry McLaurin, Jamar Gibbs, and Henderson. Ooh, I think that's a tough lineup. Brock Bowers coming up, getting his nose dirty. Harvey, Fairbairn. On my bench, I got, again, McMillan, Pearsall, Mason. I do got Caleb Johnson, Ingram, scoring tight end. Woo. And Cam Ward is my backup quarterback. Woo! That team is pretty tough. They're the fans. Come on now. Come on, give me some. Baker Mayfield, Puka Nacua, Terry McLaurin, Jamar Gibbs, Travion Henderson, Brock Bowers, R.J. Harvey. Man, come on. What are we talking about? So that's my fantasy squad. What did you guys watch some college football over the weekend? What was your biggest story of the college football weekend? Excuse me. What was the biggest story over college football weekend? I think the biggest story, oddly enough, I think the way I see it, the biggest story were all L's. Team getting L's. Texas got an L. Bama got an L. North Carolina got an L. FSU did get a win. Miami got a win. What was your big takeaway? Texas, Texas, but the young Manning had a okay game. I think they were kind of the whole team. The coaching staff looked nervous for game one of the regular season. They're playing against the defending champions. The coaching staff looked nervous, so I'm not going to blame it all on young Eli. I think he'll be all right. Bama, that coach is trouble. I've been down there the last couple of years. That coach is in trouble. But if his salary, if his buyout wasn't $65 million, he might not make the season. But unless they come up with some big money like that, he's gonna be there, and their Bama fans is gonna be they're all guts all tangled up already, and it's week 1 in September. UNC. I mean, what do we expect? Come on, Belichick. Those aren't Belichick's players. Sure, we can coach them up, but if you don't have the talent, you're not gonna beat a more talented team than you. Come on, coaching the scheme that only works so much. That only works so much. FSU put it on Bama, so I give credit to FSU for doing their job. And Miami smacking around Notre Dame, I loved it. I loved every moment of that. So good job, Miami. Let's hope that stays consistent throughout the season. That'll be super dope. We got a fight party now. Jake Paul and Tank Davis. That's been announced. That's going to happen later in November. But before that, in a couple weeks, we got Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez on the 13th in Vegas. If you're not going to the party, if you're not going to the fight, you're having a fight party, I want to know, what are the do's and don'ts? What are you guys' top do's and don'ts at fight parties when you go to the fight party? I mean, first of all, you can't walk in with nothing. You can't walk in with empty-handed. I guess that's a don't too. You can't walk in empty-handed. That's the first thing. If you walk into a fight party, like a Super Bowl party, like a national championship game, you can't be double dipping into the nachos, into the guacamole, you can't take a chip in there and dip it into the salsa, bite it, and then go back into the salsa with that same chip. You cannot do that. Now, you may get me taking some fresh chips into the bowl to the head, but you cannot go in there double dipping at somebody else's house, man. Stop that. If that's you, cut it out. You can't. Nobody should have to ask you. This has something to do with the people who invite you over to their house, over to the party, or to the bar, or wherever you're watching the party. This has to go on them too. But if you block the TV, you got to be mindful. If you're blocking the TV, blocking somebody's view, trying to say hi, trying to say hello. I haven't seen you in a long time. Trying to catch up with friends. Hey, you got to do that on the side. Right now, you're blocking my view. Get out of my way. You're blocking my view. So you can't block the TV. Got to be mindful. Know your surroundings. Know your audience. When you walk in the room, stand to the side of the room. Say what's up. See what you're going to sit down. You don't stand in the middle of the room blocking the TV. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here. So what? Sit your ass down. That's number 2. Number 3, fight party do's and don'ts. You can't argue with the host. The host say don't sit there and the chair broke. Don't sit there because the chair's broke. Don't try to go get your into the China cabinet to get you a plate when there's paper plates on the table. You can't argue with the host. They invited you over to have a good time with the host. You can't argue with the host. Okay. In fact, why don't you pick up a plate? Why don't you pick up a bag and go around and grab help the host out. You can't get in an argument with the host. Do's and don'ts. If you didn't know, those are my fight party do's and don'ts. Be a good guest. We got football season coming around. People are going to have watch parties at their house. You guys these are some of the things that you guys needed to know. And if I can come up with more next week, I'll come up with more. What's the etiquette when you go to a ball game? When you go to a ball game or a sporting event, what's the etiquette? And everybody try to catch the ball, right? Everybody in baseball, everybody try to catch it. When the home runs hit your way, everybody stands up, think they can catch it. What about when the girls are throwing the T-shirts or the guys are throwing the T-shirt? Do you jump in? Or do you guys get excited for that T-shirt? A lot of people, they want you to get loud and rowdy for the T-shirts. But when you're down there getting autographs, first of all, grown men shouldn't be getting autographs. Even if for your nephew, even if for your niece, you cannot, grown men, stop. If you're older than 35, if you're older than 40, get your ass out of the autograph line. No autographs for you. Okay? I see this far too often. I see that at WNBA games, grown-ass men standing in line over kids. They're in the way of kids. And that's the thing. If it was on the side and, I just bumped into Sue Bird and I said, Sue, would you sign this for me? And she just signed this. That's something different. But standing in line or standing at the rail, blocking kids from getting autographs, you got to be ashamed of yourself. Grown-ass men, if that's you, stop that. But did you guys see the dude at the tennis match who the kids were getting autographs? And the kid had to ask for, can I have the hat? Because the dude took the hat off his head and kind of, as he was signing that autograph, he took the thing off his head and kind of put it out there. He didn't look to give it directly to the kid, but he kind of put it out there. And the grown-ass man snatched the hat for the little kid. The grown-ass man had the nerve to say, in an interview later, if the little kid was faster, he would have got the hat, and this wouldn't even be a story. Grown-ass man, you stole the hat from the little kid. Again, look, you should be ashamed of yourself. Grown-ass man, he was trying to get autographs, and he stole the hat, and actually went and sat down next to his wife. Obviously, it wasn't a black couple because if that happened with a black couple, that wife would have probably smacked dude, and she would have probably took the hat from him and gave it to the little kid. So a little difference there. Just a little difference there. Cal Raleigh's still doing it. Is Cal Raleigh MVP this season, folks? Is Cal Raleigh, the Seattle Mariners catcher, come from nowhere, hit 51 home runs? Is he the American League MVP over a Judge who missed some games? You gotta let me know on that one. I mean, that's a pretty high honor for a Seattle Mariner. Is he the league MVP? Somebody has to answer that question for me. I cannot answer that question. I don't watch that much baseball. But Cal Raleigh's getting off. Kudos to him for doing this thing. Having the Mariners get off to a great start like this. This is pretty dope. So, fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We just hit you. I mean, this show is just kind of giving you guys a dose. Do you like this better than a 3-hour show? Just a quick dose of what's going on in America. Just a little dose of sports, a little dose of this, a little dose of that. Next week, as we move forward, obviously we have some storyline from the NFL season. We have some games under our belt that we're going to talk about next week. NBA, before too long, will be underway, and we'll see how things play out with this situation with Ballmer. This rumor, is it just a rumor? Who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'll get an answer. I do some homework on myself on my own and get an answer why nobody's doing anything about the collective bargaining issue. I don't know. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. As always, let the flight go by. Yeah, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast as always. And I want to leave you guys with this quote here. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but rising every time we fail. Confucius. Our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. If you don't succeed, as a very famous poet once said, American poet Aaliyah once said, if you don't succeed at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again. That's what the quote said. That's what this is saying here. Our greatest glory is not in failing, but in rising every time we fall. You're gonna fail. It's inevitable. You're going to fail. You're going to fall. You're going to hit the ground. You're going to scuff up your knees, scuff up your elbows. But you learn from that stuff. You learn from the scrapes. You learn from the scratches. So go out there and get your scrapes and scratches, fans. If you're in my fantasy league, I'm sorry, you're going to get scrapes and scratches every time you play me. Because I'm going for a 3-peat. In the nation's best fantasy football league, I'm going for a 3-peat. I'm going for my second title in 3 years, in the Voice of the Fans Fantasy Football League. So keep following me throughout the season, fan. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. I am your man, Cam. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. The Voice of Fans on Instagram. Voice of Fans on Twitter. Or @_Voice of the Fans on Twitter. You can check out my content at voiceofthefans.org. All my articles there, voiceofthefans.org. I try to keep it fresh. You're going to see, I'm going to write an article. You already heard them if you follow the podcast. You heard them from me, but I'll put it down on paper. My top 10 storylines going into the season. I'll have it up by Sunday, but I'll miss obviously tomorrow. The story that was one storyline that we'll miss, but I'll have it up tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man Cam. Thank you for making our voice. enjoy the happy football season.